Welcome to the Collaborative Podcast, brought to you by the Improvement Foundation with your host, Tony Lemke.
Hey all, welcome to the eCollaborative Podcast number 3. This is a special screencast for users of the Genie program. At the moment, we can't automatically extract the Genie measures using the PenCat tool, but luckily it's easy to find out the numbers we need using the Quick Reports function built into Genie, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So within the File menu in Genie Client, open Quick Reports. This is the tool. The first two measures we're going to extract are those with regard to the prescriptions. We scroll down the tables to get to the prescriptions table here and click on the query button. We're interested in how many prescriptions there are in our database that have been written for active patients. To select only those that are written for active patients, scroll down till you get to this field here, Patient ID. Click on this little triangle. That opens up all the fields associated with our patients. Scroll down quite a long way till we get to the field marked inactive. We can see it there. We're interested in those patients that aren't inactive, so we're selecting inactive, the comparison is equal to, and the value is false. We're looking for those patients who inactive is equal to false. And then we click on query. So now the search is made through all the prescriptions in the Genie database to find those that are associated with an active patient, and we find there are 28,307 prescriptions for active patients. Write that number down. Now we want to find out how many of those have been printed in the last 6 months. Click on the query button, click on the field the date is greater than, and today is the 6th of March, so if we make this field 6th of September last year. So we see those prescriptions where the date is greater than the 6th of September 2011, and we want to search among only those prescriptions we decided were for active patients. So click this time on this button marked Query in Selection. And that will search within the 28,000 prescriptions we'd already identified for those that have been printed in the last 6 months, and we find out that the value we're interested in is 10,810. Good. Write that number down. The next measures we want to extract are dealing with the diagnosis in our database in the past history and current problems tables. So if we scroll up not too far to the past history table, we'll run our query there. And once again, we want to find all the diagnoses in the past history that are associated with an active patient. So again, we click on the little triangle, scroll down the patient ID, gone too far, till we get to the inactive field. Once again, we want that equal to false. Let's query there. It does a search through our database and finds there are 11,000 diagnoses in our past history tables for all our patients that are active. Write that number down. Now we want to know those that are associated with the code. So we click on Query, select this field, the ICPC code. We want that not equal to blank, and we want to query in the selection of diagnoses in the past history table for active patients. So click on Query in Selection. It says of those records in the past history table, 4,145 of those are coded. Excellent. Write that number down. And the final table we're interested in is the current problems table. There's the current problems table, very similar to the past history table. We want to find all the current problems diagnoses for active patients. inactive is equal to false query, and we find there are 13,440 records in the selection for the current problems for active patients. Write that number down, and just as we did for past history, we then want to find those that have a code. So the code is not equal to blank, and this time query in the selection, and we find that 6,600 of those 13,000 have a code associated, and that's the number that we need to write down there. There you go. So we've extracted the numbers that we need for total number of prescriptions for active patients, the number of prescriptions for active patients that have been printed in the last 6 months, and for each of current problems and past history, we've sorted out how many diagnoses there are for active patients and how many of those in each category have a code attached. Having had a look at the Genie Quick Reports tool, I thought we'd have a look at how we could use those numbers that we've extracted to add to the IF portal. We started off by looking at the medications, and we found out that the 28,307 active medications for patients who were active. Of those, we determined that 10,810 of those had been printed in the previous 6 months. That means that 38.2% of our active medications for active patients have been printed in the previous 6 months. We looked at the past history table and found there are 11,974 diagnoses entered in the active patients, of which 4,145 of them had no CPC code attached. The current problems, again, 13,444 diagnoses for active patients, of which 6,690 had a code. So the total number of diagnoses in our table for active patients was 25,414, of which 10,835 were coded. These numbers are the numerator and denominator that the PenCat tool is interested in. The percentage is calculated on the portal, and that's the number that will be fed back to us. Okay, so it's good that our Genie practices can participate in the eCollaboratives and extract their measures and have these uploaded to the portal. We look forward to hearing how you go with this. Any questions, give us a call, and cheers, have fun.